Howdy, Possum Patty and the entire Soggy Bottom bunch here. Yes, well, on the table, we have the flea market rescued, now forest troll. We have the mushroom capped gnome who's been taking us on some micro hikes. We have the ghost pumpkin. We have the sweet little gnome over here in her pink dress who likes to sit in the bowl of gems and crystals. And I have three little tiny fall gnomes. I haven't seen them since last year, but all of a sudden they showed up again. Yes. And they're sitting in the bowl right now because they're so small. They don't want to get lost on the table. Oh, and Flat Stanley waving hello. And he's standing there with a little pumpkin by his side because he's trying to remind me that I need to do some pumpkin journaling in his journal too. Well, I just popped over to the closet to get some black gesso because I want to put a coat on this black cat in between doing everything else today. Yes. And this is the topper for the other side of my decorated tree. This is the autumn harvest side. The other side is Halloween. Well, I thought that while journaling today, well, in between gluing things down in a journal, I would put a couple of coats of gesso on this cat. Yes. Well, I'm going to start just by putting a coat of black gesso on the cat. Wow, this has gotten really thick. Some water. Looks a bit like tar in there, yes. Yes, this is going to turn out really, really nicely. Oh, back to the mushroom cap gnome over here. Yes, he's been taking us on some micro hikes during the month of October for hashtag Walktober too. I'll link them below if you haven't seen those yet. Just a couple of little shorts. I think he has some more things to share with us though. Oh, what's a micro hike, you're asking? Well, let me explain. Howdy, Possum Patty here. I'm trying to be very careful because there's a wood frog right down here by my foot. Yes, a very pretty one too. Well, let's take a micro hike. Now, micro meaning small doesn't mean we're going to walk a very short distance. No, it means we're going to pick a very small piece of land like this one right here beside me, down at my feet. And we're going to get down close and we're going to walk with our eyes. Yes, we're going to look all around this very small area right here and see what wonderful tiny things nature has for us to discover. Now I have to keep my eye on that frog. She is right at the end of my stick there. Same color as all those leaves around her. I gotta watch my step here. Okay, well, this looks like a very interesting spot. I see a lot of things growing here. Now you could do a micro hike many different ways. Some folks toss out a hula hoop and wherever it lands, they discover all that they can within the boundaries of the hula hoop. Other folks just, in their mind's eye, mark out a square meter or so and get down and have an explore. Yes. If you're getting old like Possum Patty and, it's a little painful to bend over for long periods of time, but you would still love to explore the forest floor. It is very helpful to have a tiny person help you out. And today, our little helper, a little tiny helper, is going to be, in a nutshell, the mushroom-capped gnome. So that's a micro hike, yes. And I've gone on a few of them with the little gnome over there. He loves to show me the tiniest things that he could find, yes. He's got a few more adventures to share with you, so make sure you check out the shorts. Well, that's what I want to journal about. I want to put a picture of the little mushroom cap gnome into my gnome journal and maybe do a little journaling about his micro hikes. I think I'm done with the cat for right now. I'm going to close this up. and rinse off my brush. Put him on the floor to dry. And let's get some journaling done. Come on along. I just gathered up a few things. Of course, I have my little gnome journal. And I got some scraps of scrapbook paper. And I have this page from the Wacky Witches book. I tore this out yesterday because I wanted to use these trees, especially this one that said Fungus Farm. Oh, and maybe the lily pad too for that little frog. We'll see. And I've got some pictures here. I've got in a nutshell on a mushroom. I've got in a nutshell, hickory nutshell. And I've got the gorgeous wood frog right there. I want to put those in the journal, but I need to do some background papers first. This is just a little altered children's book, and I did take out all of the pages that go with the story to use those as ephemera. I'm looking through though. I don't see where I used any of the pages yet. We'll have to get some of that in here. Well, there are gnomes, different kinds of gnomes from all around the world. And these are the gnomes from Canada here on the first page. And this is Patty Opossum, gnome from the Dollar Tree. And I made her a little dress and she decided to stay at Stoggy Bottom. Some gnomes come and go with the seasons, like the Valentine gnomes. They're here in February. And then the bunny gnomes show up in the spring. Isn't this adorable little fabric pocket there with the little bunnies on it? Made with gifted reproduction retro material. And this little card, I had in a box of memories. I have this really big box with letters and cards and old photos, and I'm trying to stick them into journals. But this picture of the lilies reminded me that those bunny gnomes, when they came, I took a picture of them by my Easter lily and my little Easter chocolate bunny there. And so, that'd be a good place. This little card came from my grandma. So, of course, I put a picture of my grandma on there. I don't know where that was taken. Probably, I don't know, I'd say California maybe. Many, many, many years ago. And there's my brother in a bunny suit. Baby possum, little Dollar Tree bunny felt sticker there. Just using up some things. Oh, and this gnome was gifted to me from Melissa in Canada. And I call this my World Watercolor Month gnome because he's got a paintbrush. Oh, and here's a postcard from Mr. Billy Bean gnome. He's the beach gnome. Yes, he came to visit Soggy Bottom from the Jilly Bean studio. And, he's gone off to warmer climes for the winter, but he says he'll see us back at the beach in 2025. And this is Sylvester the gnome. And he came from the Dollar Tree. And we have a diamond painted gnome corner tuck. That was a fun project. I'll find a gnome picture to put on that page. I got some empty pages here and a beautiful sparkly red, white, and blue page for Sam, the patriotic gnome, who comes in the summertime for the holidays. He loves to go to the 4th of July parade with the Soggy Bottom bunch. So we made him a very sparkly page. And I think that's all that's in here. Oh, that corner tuck is actually like a leather bookmark, but I use it like a corner tuck. The one back here is sewn right to the page, though, where this one I left loose. I'm not sure where I'm going to put that yet. So let's see, we have 3 pictures, and I want to do some journaling. And I want a different background, so I don't want to use that background. Well, maybe in a nutshell might fit on there, the one where he's in the nutshell. And I can do some journaling about him coming to Soggy Bottom and, you know, getting interested in learning about nature. That's a possibility there. But I know I want to put the picture of him on the mushroom with this fungus background. I think because this book is so small, I'll be able to use the top half of this side for the fungus picture and the bottom half of this side for the frog picture. But where am I going to do my journaling? Well, the journaling can be done on a... Oh, you know what I could do? I could just put their pictures here, right? And then I can go back. I know I jump back and forth and I'm so random, but, you know, I'm chronologically challenged, so it might drive some people crazy, but not me. I could put a little pocket here, right? And decorate it and put his picture over there, write his information. And I could put a little booklet about, you know, everything that he learns about nature. I could slip that into there. So that's like 4 pages. Oh my, let's see if we can get that done. Okay. So first thing I need to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut this for there and cut this for that side. And then put their pictures right down on the page. So this is the Wacky Book of Witches, and it's one of those really fun children's books that has these very complicated illustrations. Yes, look at this. And so it's like the more you look at it, the more you see. You find these like little Easter eggs, little hidden gems all around the page everywhere. And so I glued the page down in my journal there, and I'm looking at it, and it says the Boggy Frog Farm. So here is the wood frog from Soggy Bottom at the Boggy Frog Farm. Yep, there's the Soggy Bottom Boggy Frog Farm wood frog. Say that 3 times fast. And on this side, this is the fungus farm. And there's a picture of, in a nutshell, on his gnome stool. Yes, I thought it was a toadstool, but no, he told me it was a gnome stool. And I put the date down here because this is going to definitely be a multi-year journal. So, did I put the date here? Let's see. Yes, I did. Okay, so I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Well, instead of going back to that other page that was back here somewhere, right there, I think I am going to go forward and do this page and this page. Now, I took out this paper. I really love this paper. I might put that there. And I also have this paper, which I might put over there. I know I did this combination in another journal, but, you know, this is leftover paper. Let's use it up. Oh, and then I have another piece. I didn't realize this was double-sided. I could make a pocket. I could put that there. I could put this here. And then I could put his picture here and lists of what he finds on his nature hikes inside here. And let's see, I've got things that I've made for fall journaling. I've got these painty mushrooms I made the other day. These were a lot of fun. And where did I put these? These are in the fairy journal. But I could put some in here. Decorate this page. Could put a couple of them if I want. That's a stem. Which ones are stems? Which ones are top? You put a couple there. And I also have these leaves that I made from those die cuts. So maybe I'll put some leaves, I don't know, some mushrooms. We'll see, right? Oh, that looks pretty on there too. Okay, first things first. I know I'm always getting ahead of myself. move the mushrooms out of the way, and let's get some paper glue down. You're not going to believe this, no. Well, I turned the camera off and I thought I would glue for a few moments and yeah, put the camera back on and show you what I've done. And I was like, oh, that'll work for me. And I started gluing things. And I went into this little organizer box here because I thought I saw a little fairy in there. And I had a little space on the page and I was like, oh, I could put that little fairy on there. So I was digging through these things. There's die cuts in here. I didn't realize there was magazine things in here too. I should put that in something else. And I kept finding things and I was like, oh, I could use that. I can use this. I can use that. I can use this. And what did I discover? Well, oop, move my little bling bling there. The first thing that I discovered were pictures of the bee corns. Now, you might remember the bee corns. I've talked about them before, right? And they're like little tiny creatures made out of acorns. And a gentleman makes them. His name is David M. Bird. You can go to his website and check them out. And there was a whole article about them in a magazine, and I had to cut out all these little pictures. I used some of the pictures on another journal page, but I was like, oh, let me put them in because, you know, in a nutshell, is so small. He's almost like a bee corn. And I found the words becoming small, and I found little pictures, and then the Walktober calendar is sitting next to me, and I was like, ooh, what if let me get the stuff off of here. What if I pull out the words Walktober right there from the calendar, and I made a pocket, and I used my painty mushrooms that I pulled out, and so I have the beautiful pocket there with the painty paper mushroom, the Walktober from the calendar, and the little bee corn who's adorable. And then I'm like, oh, I got to use another bee corn. So I went over on this page and I put one with the photo of In a Nutshell. And I'm like, oh, let me put another mushroom. I put a strip of this paper across the top and these words that were from the magazine. And then I was like, well, I need to journal a little bit about, you know, who this is. This is In a Nutshell, and this is the bee corn, and when this is. And I used the stem from one of the mushrooms, like a little journaling card. And then I was like, oh, let me add a little sparkle to that flower up there. And I got out this Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. I've had this for a long time. There's still a little left in there. And I put a little shiny brown there, and I was just putting a little piece of bling on there. Well, in the box was also part of the article about David, and it had this quote, when people see these photos, they remind them of when they were young, that sense of magic and possibility. Oh, and I'm thinking possibility, right? So I put that quote on there. It's not the whole article, but I do love that quote over there. And down here it says, perhaps this year, as autumn shifts the outside world, we might look at our own backyard through David's lens, seeing the familiar, but seeing it as extraordinary. Oh my gosh, now doesn't that just fit the micro hikes that Little in a Nutshell is taking us on? Seeing the familiar, but seeing it as extraordinary. I love that. I put a little bee corn on there too. And on the back, some hand cream on there. Okay, now it's gonna have a big smudge, but that's okay. I wrote down all the things that he's seen so far. I'm making a mess here. I got a blob of this brown sparkle pen on there, so I just glued a little leaf on there. And now I've got hand cream on there. I'm so messy, but that's okay. I put down davidmbird.com and at davidmbird. I think that's for Instagram. So I love this. I mean, it just fits this page perfectly. Possum, perfect. I think I got too much glue on this side. There we go. Okay. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Oh, I had so much fun doing this. Yes. And it just went on and on and on. And then I had to come back and I gave that black cat another coat of black gesso. And I was like, okay, this is probably enough. But then, you know, I had all these little things sitting here from that box, and there were these little tiny tags and little tiny leaves. And I was like, oh, let me just add one more thing, right? Where'd it go? One more thing. One more thing. And I have two of those tiny tags with one of those little leaves on them. And I loved it, so I made another one. I'm going to put one on each page. And I'm just going to glue it on. And I want it sticking out a little bit, you know, like almost like a tab. And I've been putting way too much glue on everything. Everything's getting messy. And I'm going to put one more up on this page right there, but I want to put a piece of thread on there first. And this is not real embroidery thread. This is the kind of thread that the kids use for their friendship bracelets. I got a bunch real cheap. Comes in handy for a lot of things. And then that's got to be it. I got to call it quits. I mean, this is this is just going on all day. I was like, oh, maybe I'll get some of that mess on the floor cleaned up. No, just sat here and journaled and just had a wonderful, relaxing, relaxing afternoon. It's hard to make those tiny bows. I make big ones and then I work on them, make them smaller. All right, I'm going to try to not glob so much glue on this one. Let's see. I want the yellow sticking out a little bit, so put the glue on this side. Spread it around. Am I done? Am I done? I've got all this bling sitting here. You can't just have one piece of bling. No. You're going to need more than that. This glue is coming out really fast today. What if I put a little tiny one on that leaf? I'm going to put the tiny, tiny one on this side. So there's like 3 different sizes. Because 3 is the magical number. This was so much fun. And I mean, it took me quite a while to get this done. Quite a while. Just finding these little things and adding one more thing and one more thing. And just loving it. And this was fun too. This was super fun. Picking out these images for the gnome stool with the fungus farm and the boggy frog farm. Have my photographs on there. Well, this one is kind of like for Team Halloween, and this one is more for Team Autumn. I can't believe I actually got 4 pages done. Yes. A spread for Team Halloween and a spread for Team Autumn. I love all the pages. Yes, I do. I love all of them. Well, thanks for coming along today, but don't forget to check out In a Nutshell's micro hikes. Happy junk journaling. Bye-bye. It's the little things, the Pocket Pig's Guide to Living Your Best Life. Rejoicing in ordinary things is not sentimental or trite.
It actually takes guts. Pema Chodron.